I've helped a lot of people retire in Greenville, South Carolina. It's become such a popular retirement destination. So if you're watching this video and you're wondering, should you retire in downtown Greenville, South Carolina, this video will give you all the pros and cons and all the tips that I've learned along the way. Hi, I'm Evan Whaley, your favorite Greenville Realtor. I know most people really want to start with all the positives. They want to talk about how amazing downtown Greenville is, and it truly is incredible. It's been rated on several top 10 and top 5 lists as far as even places in the entire world and in the country. And so our downtown really is amazing, but I want to tell you all the things our downtown is not and some cons so that you can make the most informed decision before we get into all the great stuff about our downtown. The first thing that I would say is that unless you want to live in a condo or a townhouse, or you want to be in an area that is more developing right now, we don't have as much walkability and accessibility as some other large downtowns, like if you're thinking about downtown Atlanta or downtown Charlotte, just as nearby large cities in the southeast. What I mean by that, when you think about Atlanta, they have a train and rail system that really people use for public transportation that really helps them flow well throughout the city. And when we talk about Charlotte, they have grocery stores all over the place. They have a really high walkability to get all of your basic needs covered. Where in Greenville, we have this truly amazing downtown that has such its quaint feel, and it is unlike really any place else out there in the world. And people move here specifically because of how amazing it is. But when we think about it, and it's really been done that way on purpose, it really hasn't been designed for someone to be able to walk to the grocery store or to walk to medical care. Our downtown really has more shops and restaurants, and it has the amazing Falls Park. So it has all these things to do and all these places to go, but it's not necessarily set up for everything to be within walking distance. We also don't have the same level of public transportation as these other large metro cities. Greenville is working on that. There's been a lot of things that have been talked about, one of which is even a rail system that goes all the way from Atlanta to Greenville to Charlotte. That's been something that's been talked about for several years. Who knows if that will ever get approved, but there's been a lot of talks. But right now, Greenville is just not to the level that those cities are from a public transportation or a walkability or accessibility standpoint. The next thing I want to mention is we do have several high traffic areas in our downtown. Now, this comes with a little bit of a caution because we actually block off our downtown from traffic several points during the year for parades and festivals and so much more. So our downtown really is highly accessible and walkable, and most people, when they feel like they're around the Falls Park area of our downtown, that is extremely walkable, and that's one of the things that people love. But if you're in other areas of town like our Augusta Road, or you're near Gower, or some of the other places that people may consider as part of our downtown, which are really popular neighborhoods and areas, if you're walking down some of those streets, there can be a lot of traffic congestion and free-flowing traffic that's there. So when we think about that, some people start to have a little bit of concerns from walkability standpoint. They are doing things about that right now. I talked to them in the past about the penny tax that Greenville is trying to pass. If that does come to fruition and that does pass, they're going to do a lot to that Augusta Road area. There's already been plans to expand the Swamp Rabbit Trail into the Gower area, which will create more walkability and accessibility to downtown and even in that area. So there are things that the city knows about, and again, those will develop over time, but they're just not there yet. Another item that we really need to factor into this would be noise. I think most people probably understand when you move to a downtown area, there's going to be some noise. You're going to have people that are out and about, and you're going to have more people going around, and that's a lot of the excitement and the liveliness of living in a downtown area. But if you're someone that's really noise sensitive, downtown might not be the best location for you because there's going to be restaurants open, there's going to be bars open, there's going to be people out and about all the time. So that's just something you might want to consider whenever you're thinking about a relocation and if you want to move to our downtown area. The last thing that I have to mention, which this is pretty common with real estate across the board, is the more attractive a location is, because we always say in real estate, location, 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 the higher price the real estate's going to be. So there's going to be a premium that's put on properties that are near our downtown area. So you are going to pay a higher dollar per square foot than you can get in the suburbs. So just keep in mind that you're going to pay more, and a lot of people do decide to relocate to Greenville, South Carolina, because when we look at the median and average price points, it's lower than the national average. And when we look at some of these larger metro cities throughout the country in the southeast, it is more affordable, and it is much more affordable a lot of times. But if you're moving to one of these high dollar premium areas, you may be spending what you've already spent in your current city, or maybe even more, depending on what the price point is. You know, we don't have New York City prices by any means, but those prices can add up, and you can get into the $1 million plus range to get a really amazing property in a great location in Greenville, South Carolina. So just keep that in mind, that when you see those median and average price points, if you plan to live in a high dollar premium area, you're likely going to pay more than what those average and median prices are, and at times easily double than those. So just keep that in mind and make sure you focus on that in your home search. And my last con, if you're truly looking for a 55 and up community, there's only really one option that's in our downtown. It's Swans Gate. Outside of that, you don't really have the true 55 and up communities. I've talked about 55 up communities in previous videos, and there's a lot of really great resources for that. So if you want to learn more, please go ahead and click the video in the link above. So if all those things meet your expectations and that is something you feel comfortable with, here's all the amazing things about living in downtown. The first of which, I got to start with something I've basically already mentioned, is that you get to live in a globally ranked, one of the best in the world downtown. One of the best places in the entire country, especially in the Southeast. The downtown is very clean, there's lots of friendly people, there's wonderful restaurants and shops. You get to enjoy all of that from a quick walk, or just to quickly hop into your car, and you just get to have that right at your doorstep, which is just something you can't get from all the other areas. The city leadership here in Greenville is always trying to find ways to get the community together. So there's so many festivals and there's so many things that are always going on. If you live in downtown, you get the benefit of being able to go to those really easily, and potentially if you don't need your car, you don't have to worry about some of the parking issues. Most of the time we have public garages and everything available that make things pretty seamless, but some of our larger festivals, things really get packed out. So it could be really nice if you live close to downtown to not have to worry about some of those logistical issues. I mentioned on the con side that the prices can be higher, but that's also a pro as well. If you're someone that's looking for some really highly valued real estate that people typically always are going to want to move to, that has this high desirability factor, this is going to be the area for you, because people are always going to want to live near where jobs are and where people are flocking to and navigating to. And our downtown is that area. That is the reason why so many people come to visit and so many people want to move here. So you're going to have some highly valuable real estate that not only is going to appreciate, but that people are also going to want to move to if you ever decide to resell that property. If you're looking for that condo or townhouse option that is highly walkable to downtown, you get all the benefits of having a low maintenance community, which is something that's really attractive to people. And not only do you have the low maintenance, but you have all these amazing resources at your doorstep. That can be a really attractive option for people. Some other things that I really should mention, I've already talked about some of the plans that are in place to really improve the accessibility and walkability. Another big thing is the county square development. For someone that's going to live in the Augusta Road area, this is going to be a really huge development. Not only do you have everything that Augusta Road has to offer, with the country club being there, with all the many shops and restaurants that are already in Augusta Road, and the accessibility to our downtown, you're going to have this new county square development, which is going to have a Whole Foods, it's going to have so many shops and restaurants and so much more that's going to be developed. It's almost going to be like its own second downtown in a way. That's going to create an even more accessible and walkable community. So for the people that get ahead of this and want to buy in those areas now, this is only, in my mind, going to continue to spike the real estate values there, because it's going to be such a premium, and it's going to be unlike a lot of the other things that we really have and a lot of the options that we have as far as housing, because you truly can find a single family home in these areas and have the walkability that you're looking for. So there you have it. I gave a lot of different pros and cons about living in our downtown in Greenville. If this isn't for you, well, there are tons of other options in being in suburbs. If the downtown living lifestyle doesn't seem like that's the right place for you for retirement, hey, there's tons of other options here in Greenville County. And there's tons of more affordable options. There's tons that have more 55 up communities. Just depending on what you're looking for, there are options. So feel free to reach out if you've got questions about retiring in Greenville, South Carolina. All my contact information will be listed down below.